Hey, third grade, welcome to social studies class today. And today we're going on a mission to space, and I'm going to need your help. To prepare for our mission to space, make sure that you've watched yesterday's video and that you've tried to familiarize yourself or learn a few of the names of the oceans and the continents and the hemispheres of the Earth, because we're going to be looking at the Earth from space today. So if you have a helmet, like a bike helmet, put it on, safety first. If you have a headset, put it on. If not, just pretend and come along the journey with me. Let's get ready for blast off. Welcome aboard, Commander. We are preparing for takeoff. And for this flight, we are working with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, better known as NASA. So come on board. The reason why I'm on the floor right now is because when we lift off, the power of gravity pushing down on us as we're moving up is going to be very strong. So I want to make sure I'm in a safe spot on the floor. So come join me, get in the same position, and let's take off. Let's see if we can get in touch with our NASA control to give us directions about what to do.
Space Shuttle flight controllers, give me a go, no-go for launch. Booster. Go. Retro.
Go.
Guidance. Go. Control.
Go.
Space Shuttle, you are cleared for liftoff in T-minus 15 seconds. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Ignition sequence start. 4, 3, 2, 1. NASA, we have liftoff.
Wow, that was a rush. I've never been in space before. I hope this goes well. So, it's a little cramped in the spaceship, but now that we've blasted off, we can stand up and we can explore a little bit. My favorite part of the spaceship is this window. Take a look outside and see what you see. And yeah, that's the Earth right there. You can see all of the clouds swirling along in the atmosphere. You can see the blue oceans, and then you can see the green and yellow parts, which are the land. Do you have any idea of what part of the world you're looking at right now in this picture? I don't really yet, but when we land, we're going to have to figure out and use our sense of direction and geography to land in the right spot.
You hear us. This is NASA Control. We seem to be losing radio contact. You're going to have to make an emergency landing on your own. We won't be able to guide you in. We're losing radio contact. You'll have to use the maps you have to guide yourself into the correct hemisphere, then continent, next country, then state, and finally the community near the landing area. Space Shuttle, can you hear us? We are setting up a signal at the landing area that you can use to help guide yourselves to the correct location. Space Shuttle, we're losing contact. Good luck.
Captain, did you hear that? We lost contact. But we still have this radar map to figure out where the signal's coming from so we can find our safe landing spot to make an emergency landing. I hope your geography skills are good enough to get us out of this mess. All right, Commander. We have lost mission control. But until then, we need to study our hemispheres to make sure when they come back that we know which hemisphere we're going to land in. So let's take a look at some of the hemispheres we learned yesterday. Remember these two lines. The equator is what goes through the middle of the Earth, and the prime meridian is what goes through the middle of the Earth, up and down or vertically. These lines give us the key to figuring out which hemisphere is shown in each picture. So look at the green shaded part right here. See how it's showing us the top of the Earth above the equator? What do you think that hemisphere is called? And then they show us the bottom of the Earth here, below the equator. What do you think that hemisphere is called? And then over here we actually see our own continent of North America and then South America, and it's showing us west of the prime meridian. So what hemisphere do you think that's called? Remember, our choices are northern, southern, eastern, and western hemispheres. And then finally, it looks like it's showing us the right or eastern side of the prime meridian here. What do you think that hemisphere is called? So let's check our answers. If you labeled this one north, and this one south, this west, and this east, you're right. And remember, when we're looking at the top of the Earth, that's always northern hemisphere. Bottom of the Earth, below the equator, is always southern. If we look at the left side, or the western side of the Earth, that's the western hemisphere. And here is the eastern hemisphere, to the right or to the eastern side of the prime meridian.
Space Shuttle, NASA Control, can you hear us? On our radar, we can see that you are headed towards the Western Hemisphere. The Western Hemisphere is correct. Space Shuttle, we're losing contact.
Alright, Commander, you heard NASA Mission Control. We are looking to land in the Western Hemisphere. On Google Classroom, you'll find a secret control to control the spaceship. Look at the first question and figure out which one of those pictures shows the Western Hemisphere. And click on it so we can point our ship in the right direction. I'm trusting you on this one. This is a big responsibility. Get us home safely, Commander. Nice work, Commander. You've steered us toward the Western Hemisphere. Now we still have a bunch of land in front of us that we could be landing on. And we have to continue to listen to the directions from NASA Mission Control to figure out where we're going. Let's look out our flight deck window again, Commander, to see where we're at. Looks like we're much closer to Earth now, but we still don't know exactly where we're supposed to land. Do you see where the signal's coming from? We have to continue to follow that signal. Okay, Commander. You remember what it looked like outside the flight deck window. Now we're looking at all the continents of the Earth on a map. Which continent matches the picture outside of our window that we saw? Remember, when we are looking at continents, we have 7 different options on what to pick. We have Australia, Asia, Europe, Africa, Antarctica, South America, and North America. So which one of these continents looks like the picture outside of our flight deck window? Don't be afraid to rewind the video if you need to look at that picture again. Another quick thing, Commander. Make sure you take some time to review the oceans on the map too, because NASA Control could give us directions that involve an ocean. So we have the Pacific Ocean, the Southern Ocean down here, the Atlantic Ocean, which goes all the way from the top to the bottom of the Earth, the Arctic Ocean, all the way up here by the North Pole, the Indian Ocean, and then remember the Pacific Ocean wraps around the back of the Earth.
Shuttle, this is NASA Control. We've picked you up on our radar and we have you headed towards the continent of North America. And it looks like you're headed towards the Atlantic Ocean side of North America. That is correct. You're headed in the right direction. That is correct. In the right direction. Space Shuttle, we're losing contact again.
Nice work, Commander. If you knew that we were going to North America, nice work. You've gotten us pointed in the right direction. And on Google Classroom, if you picked the wrong answer, or you picked a different continent, quick, go back and fix it so that we can steer our ship in the right direction again. Let's take another look outside our flight deck window. And here's another view, Commander, now that we're in North America, outside our flight deck window. And we're getting closer and closer to the signal. It's time to start looking at countries to make sure that we're headed to the right country. So take a look at the signal, and let's try to figure out what country that signal is coming from. So let's take a peek at our trusty spaceship map that's showing us all of the countries in North America. And the different countries, we can tell, are different because of the colors. So every time you see a different color, it means we're looking at a different country on the map here. And I'm going to try to get my face out of the way so we can see what we need to see. So compare that picture that we looked outside of our window to this map here. And let's figure out where the signal is coming from. Also, you might recognize some of the shapes of these countries. Can you figure out which one is Canada, which one is Mexico, and which one's the United States? So, Commander, I've secured a map with all the names of the countries on the map this time. Check it out and compare this picture to the picture outside our flight deck window. Where is the signal coming from? Which of these countries? Make sure to put your answer in Google Classroom so that our controls will point us in the right direction towards the signal.
Space Shuttle, I don't know if you can hear us, but according to the radar, you are flying towards the country of the United States of America. That's correct. Radio contact is breaking up.
Nice work, Commander. If you steered us toward the United States, it means we're headed in the right direction. Let's keep going towards the signal and see what it looks like outside our window again. So it looks like the signal is coming from that piece of land right there. We see what the piece of land looks like, and now we have to figure out which state it's actually coming from, so we can steer our ship in the right direction to get home safely. So, Commander, I've secured a very useful map for you to try to steer us in the right direction towards the correct state where the signal's coming from. Remember, we want to match the picture outside of our window with the shape of the state on the map here. And just like when we're looking at countries, each one of these different colors on the map means a different state. So we could be going to any of these states in the southeastern part of the United States. So I went to work and I labeled all of the states that we could be going to for you. Again, let's compare the picture outside our window and try to find the correct state on this map so that we can steer our ship in the right direction. If you think you can match that picture up with the name of the state, put that answer in our control panel in Google Classroom and steer our ship in the right direction. I think we're almost home.
Asset control. Our radar has you moving right towards the state of Florida. That is correct. You are headed in the right direction. Space Shuttle will contact again.
Nice work, Commander. If you steered us toward the state of Florida, that was the right direction. We're getting very close to the signal now. There's only one step left before we get home to our landing site safely. Let's take another look at our map to figure out what city or what community that we need to go to. Because the state's still too big. We don't know where to land yet. We need to get closer. All right, Commander. I went digging again, and I found an old map of the state of Florida. Now you'll notice on these maps that we have little dots. Each one of those black dots and the star represent a city or a community that our signal might be coming from. And the star here means that it's the capital city, which is where the head of government is in Florida. I don't know if we're going there yet, but that's a nice fact to know. I've also done some research into what these cities are called, so that if NASA control comes in again, we know what city they're going to be talking about. So here are some of the cities that I found. It looks like the capital is Tallahassee, Florida. That looks like a pretty hard name to spell, but that's an important city because it's the capital. It looks like we also have Key West all the way down here. It looks like on an island. And then we have Tampa and Cape Canaveral. We'll have to wait for Mission Control to come back again to figure out which of these cities we need to go to. Commander, we've got a visual look at the signal. Can you figure out which city or community that this signal is coming from so that we can point our ship in the right direction? Go to our control panel in Google Classroom and make sure you write the city's name where the signal is coming from. Make sure you look at both outside our flight deck window and our map to be able to match those two up. Pick the right city and we'll be home safely.
Space Shuttle, this is NASA Control. Space Shuttle getting very close. We've picked you up on our radar and we have you headed towards the community of Cape Canaveral, right next to the Kennedy Space Center where you're supposed to land. It's correct, you're headed in the right direction. Space Shuttle, we're losing contact again. We're almost there.
Nice work, Commander. It looks like you did it. If you pointed us toward Cape Canaveral, that is the right spot. And if you pointed us to a different city in Florida on our control panel in Google Classroom, make sure you go back and change it so we can make a safe landing. Remember, Cape Canaveral is the city that we're going to. All right, Commander, once you've put in the coordinates for Cape Canaveral, make sure you get secure for our landing. So strap in if you got a seatbelt, put your goggles and helmet on, and let's get prepared for an emergency landing in Cape Canaveral.
Space Shuttle, this is NASA Control. We have you touched down at the Kennedy Space Center, next to the community of Cape Canaveral, in the state of Florida, in the country of the United States of America, in the continent of North America, in the western hemisphere of Earth. Congratulations on a successful emergency landing. NASA Control, out.
Nice work, Commander. You guided us safely back to home base on our first space shuttle mission. Guess we can take our helmet off now. I'm glad that you know so much about geography, because that's what got us home. Nice work. So let's meet up here again for another week of science next week. Until then, relax, enjoy your successful mission, and have an awesome weekend. Bye-bye.